So welcome to Satsang. I have a question from somebody that I will go over later during the meeting. So, as you know, you're welcome to pose the question by speaking it or writing it in the chat box. So this meeting is coming together as one, a recognition or an invitation to recognize what we truly are and to express just by being together our love for truth and our celebration of this love. So our true nature is wholeness, is indivisible, is non-conceptual. The reality of our experience is the reality of the universe, is the one reality that we refer to as I. When you say I, you're referring to the reality of being. Whatever it is that is real, we refer to as I. And this knowingness, knowing yourself as this reality, precedes the word, precedes language, precedes the thought. And via the thought, we have a representation of what we are. But the representation of what we are is not what we are. The image, the description, the concept is not what we are. You know yourself as the silent presence. You know yourself as the peace, as the stillness, as the freedom, as the love, which is absolute, that has no opposite. And whenever you imagine yourself, then you are imagining yourself in opposition to something else. Whenever you imagine yourself via thought and via sensation, you are reducing yourself via this imagination. You reduce yourself via the imagination by believing that thought or feelings refer to what you truly are. What you truly are has no reference outside of itself. Only I knows I. Only awareness knows awareness. Only reality knows itself without any opposite, without any reference. our true nature, whatever is real, is the reality of consciousness, is also the reality of the world, body, mind. There is one reality. And that reality is not known by something outside of it. It is not known by anything that is beyond it, because there is nothing that is beyond the reality. So the knowingness belongs to knowingness itself. The knowingness, the awareness belongs to the reality itself. So reality is knowing. It is self-knowing. It knows itself. You, I, whatever we refer to as consciousness, I, is self-knowing. I know myself. I know I am, without relying on thought. And whenever you rely on thought to know yourself, you are only knowing a concept of yourself, an image, an idea of yourself. And when you know yourself as an idea, then you are in the world of infinite thought and infinite ideas, and you are confused. You experience confusion, an absence of clarity. And of course, because we love clarity, then we are seeking to bring an end to this confusion. What you think your life is just a story, a dream. You will not find an answer in the dream that will truly satisfy you. Only what is real will satisfy you. Only what is true, beyond any doubt, will satisfy you. Your ideas about yourself, about your life, about your family, about your relationships, all that is dream. What is not dream you cannot perceive. Which we refer to as I. You cannot perceive the I, the self, as you perceive a thought or an emotion. But you know the self upon your contemplation of what am I truly? What is the reality of my experience? Not what is the content of my experience, not how can I improve the content of my experience. How can I have a better experience? But the contemplation of what is the reality of my experience. When you contemplate this question, you cannot go to memory. You cannot go to thought, because thought is constantly changing, morphing. Like the clouds in the sky. And the thought that appears that says, go north, a minute later, a thought arises saying, go south. So the contemplation of what is it? What is the reality of my experience? Is not conducted via thinking. Nor via feelings. If you are interested in the reality of your experience, then you have to go to reality itself. You have to go to whatever it is that is real. And if you contemplate in your experience, what is it that is real? You come to complete silence. You come to consciousness, awareness that is completely silent. Presence. Awareness. That has no name, no age. No gender. And yet it's undeniable. And of course, if you are not interested in the question, what is the reality of my experience? Then you have infinite thoughts available to you, infinite images available to you, that 1 minute tell you you are so great, next minute they tell you how awful you are. 1 minute they tell you how successful you are. Next minute they tell you what a failure you are. 1 minute they tell you, yes, you are moving the right direction. Next minute they're telling you you are going down in the tunnel. Whenever you move away from the contemplation of what am I truly, of what is the reality of my experience, the beehive is surrounding you, the beehive of thoughts and feelings and emotions. The download, my life yesterday, my regrets, my sorrows, my hope, my relationships are failing now, hopefully they'll be better tomorrow. My worries about my health, about my money, about my life, my retirement. Because outside of the contemplation of truth, you have conceptualized yourself as a man or a woman that is born, and you are on the roller coaster ride of thoughts and emotions. Of course, it is your freedom to ride the roller coaster all you want. But deep down in your heart, you are looking for the peace and the happiness that is not dependent on your health or your wealth or how much you are loved or how popular you are. Some people may say, oh, well, that's a pipe dream. But I'm here to tell you that it's not. That awakening to the self, meaning the ending of the impression of separation, is not a pipe dream. It is the reality of what you are. And awakening to this reality is your business in a way. You have to make it your business. And you will find yourself falling more and more in love with this contemplation and realizing that outside of this contemplation, there is no other reality. It's only the illusory dream of a separate self in time and space. So if you have any questions.
Magdi?
Yes, Zoe. Hello, Zoe. I just saw a question that Isaac wrote. Maybe
Sure, go ahead. I'll ask mine after.
So Isaac, you're right. Yes, our perceptions bring something else to reality. All perceptions, such as, of course, this perception right now, Isaac, refers to the reality that perceives it. The substance of the perception is the knowingness of it. The perception is made out of knowingness, knowing the perception, awareness. All perceptions refer to the awareness that knows them and that is their substance. Because the perception and the perceiver, or the awareness that knows this perception, are at zero distance of each other. They're simultaneous in time and space. They occupy the same time and space. The perception and the knowingness occupy the same time and space. They are one. So the perception refers to its perceiver, to its knowingness. And this knowingness, whatever it is that knows the perception, is I. Before the name Isaac is I. I am this knowingness. I is this knowingness. And the perception, I mean, whatever is perceived is the perception, is intimately one with the I. So the perception and I are one. So the perception refers to awareness. Before it is named, before you name the perception oak tree or television screen or table or cloud or lake, before the thought, before the name, awareness is the reality of the perception. Then the thought comes, this is a lake, this is a tree, and so on. What matters in this conversation is your understanding that first, the reality of everything that you experience is I, consciousness. And that everything that you experience is not a part of you. There is no external object. There is no external reality to the reality of awareness. And that you are this reality. The I is this reality. The next contemplation will be the contemplation of the qualities of this I, the qualities of awareness, which takes you beyond time and space, beyond thought, beyond limitations, beyond the ideas that form the impression of separation. So consciousness knows itself, or awareness knows itself as awareness, and it knows itself as the oak tree. But it knows itself as the oak tree conceptually. In other words, it needs to sort of formulate oak tree as opposed to a banana tree or as opposed to an apple tree. That's the conceptual realm. So in a way, it creates a model of itself as an oak tree. But by creating a model of itself as an oak tree, it does not become an oak tree. It remains as itself. It remains as awareness. In other words, when you, Isaac, decide to get on stage and play Othello, you actually do not become Othello. You're still Isaac. You are still as you are. So in the conceptual realm, consciousness is the world, body, mind. But the reality, this reality is still consciousness, and in spite of the concept, it remains as itself. And the sense of separation and suffering and isolation that we experience is because we believe the concept to be the reality. We believe that actually the tree is real, the lake is real, our children are real, our parents are real, our neighbors are real. We mistake the concept to be consciousness, to be reality. And this erroneous understanding starts with conceptualizing consciousness, I, because I refers to the reality of consciousness. Conceptualizing I, meaning consciousness, to be a man or a woman, to be a body mind. That is the initial movement towards separation and towards the infinite names and forms. Okay, Isaac.
Magdi?
Yes, Zoe.
Okay, so my question has to do with when you were speaking about it's not a pipe dream. And what came up for me is just this whole sense of being an actor on a stage, interacting, but with as the illusion gets stripped away. And I brought this up before, but there's less of a charge interacting with people, but there's times when I still feel like I'm just lying in the agreeing with them about this is terrible or whatever. And I wonder if you could speak more about that. It's almost like um I don't know how to relate in the world from this understanding. And if the to create not to create but just to connect with the understanding, there's something that feels like I'm not being true to the self if I'm speaking, or agreeing with as a separate, with that illusion of being separate.
Well, you don't need to agree with what you don't agree with. In other words,
Right.
if
But there's like this whole thing of, you know, people who have lost somebody, a teacher at my school, her son died, and I just don't see that as terrible anymore. But if I were to say that, um, then I think she would be.
I mean, why would you want to tell a young child that believes in Santa Claus that Santa Claus is not real?
Okay.
I mean, you know Santa Claus is not real. You know
Okay.
the fairy is not real, but why would you want to say that? You wouldn't. You
Okay.
want to rain on their parade.
Okay.
Now, but this does not mean that you agree, for example, that uh, that somebody may be saying something about the neighbors being really awful people. That's how they feel, that's how they perceive it. You can hear somebody say that, and you don't need to agree nor disagree. Yeah,
Okay.
I see what you mean. That's,
Yeah.
I hope you will have a better relationship with your neighbors in the future.
Okay. Okay.
We don't agree that there is somebody who is bad and somebody who is good. That's all mind. But
Right.
people, are at different stages in their understanding, in their expression, in their dream, and not whenever somebody is open, you can sense this openness,
Mm.
and you may share something. You may share, like, well, sometimes we act in the same stupid way than our neighbor, but we see it out there, but we never see it here. You may
Yeah.
find, you may sense that there is some openness for you, for example, to share something like that.
Okay.
But also you can sense when there isn't this openness, and
Right.
when there is
Right.
openness, and you say, well, sometimes we act in the same way, in the same stupid way as this neighbor that we're criticizing. They may feel that you're it's stupid for you to say something like that. No, that's not true. I'm good. The neighbor is
Ah,
is
right.
the
Yeah.
uh, so it's not about convincing anybody of the non-dual reality, or disregarding uh, the fact that people are in different realms, different places. They're still holding on to, really tightly to their identity or their notion that they're the good ones and the bad
Mm.
ones are out there. And uh, it may even be dangerous sometimes too,
Mm.
especially in the political world.
Right. Yeah.
Some places in the world it's really awful. You can get persecuted for your views. In the
Mm.
old days, they used to burn the witches, or somebody believed something else and the sun god, they would
Hmm.
crucify them. So it's an inner uh, inner understanding and inner contemplation. And in the world, you navigate your relationship with people, uh, being sensitive to where they're at, and you can sense that
Mm.
by just being listening and paying attention. Uh, but when you're agreeing with somebody where you don't, you're really violating your
Mm.
your own principles. Then I think you're adding a drop of toxin in the stream. You don't want to do that. You can be silent.
Okay. Yeah. That's
You know?
that's helpful, and that's more what I'm sensing is that sometimes being silent is enough, and yeah, there's nothing that I need to say, but yeah,
Uh,
thank you.
Sometimes we want to be loved, or we want to be
Right. Yeah. Connected and all that. Yeah.
perceive that, but that's the separate self. That's the image. That's when the, I want my concept of myself to be loved, or
Mm.
my idea or my image of myself to be loved, or my idea of myself to belong to. Because what you truly are
Mm.
isn't looking, consciousness isn't looking to be loved or to belong to the community, or to be part of anything. It's that's the concept. That's at the mind level.
Mm.
Your image of yourself. You feel that you want to improve your life as an image, as a person. You have a concept of yourself, and when you have a concept of yourself, you're constantly disturbed by the thoughts of, okay, what's going to happen to me? Am I being loved? Am I being accepted? Am I getting, you know, what's going to happen to me tomorrow? Am I becoming wealthier? Am I becoming healthier? But all of that is conceptual. And it's an important discrimination that you need to have whenever you are defending or caring for Zoe as an image, as a concept. Because in this present moment there is no Zoe, there is no separate self, there is no image. It's just pure awareness, pure borderless presence. It's God's light shining as this. And in that, there isn't a me and a you. The me and the you exist in thought, in past thoughts that keep arising, saying, well, I am this or that, and he or she is something else. So the belief that I am a person, and the feeling, the feeling. Once they arise, they have a grip, but their grip is nothing in the light of awareness. Like the candlelight is nothing in the light of the sunlight. There is available to you the entire reality of God, God's truth, which is the universal awareness, is what I am truly, is there. It's completely present. There's no piece of awareness that's missing, or piece of consciousness that's missing. To trust that, you sort of bank at the right institution. Turn your attention not to what thought says you are, or what feelings say you are, because thoughts and feelings are completely, they're on heavy drugs. They're completely crazy. Really.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You can't rely on thoughts or feelings, because the thought will take you at, oh my God, he left me, or she left me, or whatever, and then you'll start feeling, listen, and why this and that, and the next thing, thought comes and says, I'm going to go to China, I'm going to go live in India. Something, then you're feeling it. Oh, how could I in my work? And then the thought says, what's going to happen to you when you'll be 65 or 82? It's crazy. It's completely crazy. Only consciousness is sane, because
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
is.
and it's inviting you. So the invitation is, hey, you know, rest as I am, rest as beingness.
Yeah.
Be as you are before you become something, before you become something from the past or something from in the future. In fact, there is no past and future. We never experienced a past and a future. In fact, it's only an idea that says, a thought that says 20 years ago. But we never experienced yesterday, we never experienced tomorrow. And yet, a lot of our thoughts are about tomorrow and about yesterday. Right? I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
there is that, there is that spin. And as soon as we believe that, oh yeah, this is true, then we experience that, yes, something is gonna happen to me tomorrow. So I need to really do this and that and that and that and that and that. We will experience this personal sense of doership and failing and succeeding, and all the anxiety about, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? All what you need to do will comes to you. It can come to you or from your thoughts and fears and concerns and worries, or it can come to you from your knowingness, from you being what you are already. Light of being. I don't have to think about what's going to be my next thought. It'd be crazy. Because I would always be thinking about what is going to be my next thought. What's going to be my next? What's going to happen tomorrow? Where am I going to be tomorrow? Where am I going to be tomorrow? Every day there is the idea of tomorrow is constant. What am I going to do tomorrow? And then tomorrow I'm thinking what am I going to do tomorrow? And then tomorrow after that, tomorrow I'm thinking what am I going to do tomorrow? It's crazy. There is no rest in that. And you will notice, like, as the body ages, in most cases, in human madness, the body is like, there are like lines on the face and worries, and the body starts to go like that, because we're living in that spin, and then the body starts to sort of express that spin, that concern, that contracting. So we invite the relaxation, the openness, the trusting, the allowing. And we recognize that I am the formless self, and it's like a no-brainer that what I truly am is so obvious. It's a transparency of being. Whatever, the words don't matter.
Yeah.
But to recognize that infinite, invisible self, it's right there. The light of being is ever there. It shines as its appearance, but it remains as itself. It doesn't become something. We never experience anything. We're always experiencing our experience. And our experience is not a thing. It's made out of awareness. Its substance is awareness. You follow?
I do. And Magdi, what usually happens is I listen to you. I can't think anymore. So Yeah, I follow. Thank you.
All worries and concerns refer to an imaginary me. But there isn't a real me.
Yeah. It seems like, there's no decisions to be made. It just unfolds.
Yes. There is no decision to be made. It just unfolds, and this unfolding is just like clouds. You look at the sky, you see clouds unfolding, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they have a shape of, I don't know, an elephant, and next they have a shape of an eagle, then they have a shape of a tree, right?
Mm.
But they're unfolding before even we say tree or the shape of an elephant or an angel. There are no words.
Mm.
So even to say tree or angel or is it's extra. It's extra. We don't need to know tree or angel or God. Somebody once told me, "Oh, well, if you don't know the tree, then you're going to walk right into the tree." I said, "How stupid can you be? You think I need to know tree so I don't walk into it? This is ridiculous.
Mm.
You think the body is completely stupid? I mean, there is within the organism all what is needed. You think the body is thinking, okay, I need to make my heart pump.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
pump. Okay, pump again. Pump. No, I mean, it's all there.
Yeah.
You think the baby, when he reaches for mama's breast, is reaching for the teacup? You can see the baby right away. It's in there. It's already built in. It's so stupid to say you're going to walk into the tree. Oh, you need to have the concept. Otherwise, you would walk into the tree. It's so ridiculous. But,
Yeah.
but the mind creates all these ridiculous statements because it doesn't want to be still. It want to be still. It's always keep spinning, keep spinning, keep spinning. Oh no, think about that. No, find the next objection. What is the next objection?
Mm.
Because it is via the argumentation, via the objection, that the me impression remains. That's what the entire me impression is, arguing this versus that. Oh well, yesterday I had the experience. Am I gonna have? How can I get that same experience tomorrow? All that is mental, spinning, spinning, spinning. Consciousness doesn't spin. Actually, consciousness is inviting you to, hey, relax, trust me,
Yeah.
trust, trust, in Christianity, they say trust God or trust Allah, trust. If you look around you, there is gravity. And without gravity, we would be, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Mm.
You think that we made gravity? That the human mind is taking care of gravity? We don't think our thoughts, we perceive them. Now we are perceiving the thought that says, hey, I am not. something that is perceived. I am the reality that perceives. That thought is also a thought, but it's a thought that is full of grace. It is a thought that is being expressed from the self, via the self, consciousness. So there are divine thoughts, thoughts that refer to truth, thoughts that refer to reality.
That's an amazing recognition to know that we don't think our thoughts. And in one satsang, you mentioned something, or maybe my question is, where do thoughts come from? All from the original I thought? Where do thoughts arise from? Consciousness originally?
Well, for a thought to arise from somewhere to somewhere else,
there would have to be somewhere.
There has to be
for it to go
somewhere and somewhere else, right?
Okay.
And in our experience, where is somewhere and somewhere else?
Nowhere.
And that very question, there is behind the question the belief in some separate realities. There is a flaw in the question itself.
Yeah. Okay.
In the question that there is reality A and reality B, and the thought travels, takes a train from reality B, travels to reality A. That's not our experience.
Right.
So in fact, thought itself what is it? What's a thought? Before the thought, what's a thought? And within the thought, what's the thought? It is said that before the thought is awareness. After the thought is awareness, or you could say before the thought is the no thought, presence, silence. After the thought is presence and silence. But also within the thought itself is silence. Consciousness is before the thought, during the thought, and after the thought. But in fact, what is a thought? You ask a 1-year-old baby or 2-year-old baby, hey, tell me about your thoughts. What do you think the baby would say? It's funny, isn't it? There's so many beliefs.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So the teaching is a teaching of deconstruction.
Yeah, everything just falls down.
Yeah. Consciousness is neither falling down nor being up. It's what the false drops off, and what remains is the real. It is the false, always the false that falls off. It is all the belief structures that start to become more and more transparent and dissolve. See, reality is not something that you sort of put together. It is only when all the illusory beliefs and all all the downloads, our beliefs and our thoughts and our feelings, when we see through all of that, they start to sort of fall away. We don't become like a zombie. Some people say, oh, well, you know, without your beliefs, how would you live? So stupid.
Yeah.
Without ignorance, how would you live? Intelligently. How, with clarity. Clarity.
Oh. Yeah. Mm.
Without just being so selfish, how would I live? I would live openly.
Mm.
Oh, then somebody says, well, oh, then if somebody comes to rob you, you will open the door and somebody will walk in your house and eat all your food. That's so stupid. Of course not. This does not mean that if somebody knocks on your door and they need something, you may help them. Who knows? This does not mean that you leave your house unlocked. When in our culture, you know, it's a very complex society now. In the old days, they had no keys to their doors. Now it's different. We understand that. So the process of awakening is a process of letting go of the false. But you cannot let go of the false until you see it. It's false. It will remain until you see it. When you see clearly that you are not the thought that you perceive, you are not the feeling that you perceive, that you are the knowingness of that. That's an understanding. In that understanding, there is something that shifts in you. Then when you realize that whatever I perceive is at zero distance from the perceiver, there is no external world outside of thought that says there is an external world. In your experience, you see that. Once you see that, something shifts within you. Because the sense of separation is made out of belief and feeling that I am here and you are over there, or something else is over there. That is unexamined. And when the belief is unexamined, it cannot fall off. It remains.
Magdi, could you speak a little louder or closer to your computer?
Yes. Is this a little bit better?
Yeah, that's better. I'm using a handheld phone and I just don't have the volume.
Okay.
Somehow.
Okay, Ananda.
Thanks.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay.
Thank you, Magdi.
Okay, Zoe. So any question, anybody else?
Well,
Yes, Ananda.
I start a retreat with Rupert.
Oh, you are at the retreat.
It starts this afternoon.
Okay.
And I'm right now with my friend Marjorie in Santa Cruz area, and then I'll go this afternoon up to that.
Yes.
And I just wondered if you have any suggestion about how to, it seems like a nutty question. Any suggestion about how to make the most of it?
Of the retreat?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you could speak up a little bit more.
Yes.
That's better. Just a little closer, a little louder.
Okay. All right. So for the retreat, can we notice our expectations? If there is any agenda,
Mm-hmm.
can we notice that the agenda refers to a me, to someone,
Mm-hmm.
maybe some personal hope, maybe some personal ambition, some personal desire? And can we notice that in that very moment, we have left our wholeness, we have conceptualized ourselves
Mm-hmm.
as someone, and we have conceptualized some future reward. And now we are in that dualistic impression of someone going somewhere in order to get something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what is this someone? What is this whole dynamic? Because consciousness is wholeness, and it's not wholeness tomorrow. It is not going to become more whole and complete tomorrow. What is this tomorrow? Can we attend the retreat with that contemplation?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in fact, there is no retreat, or this is a retreat right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What thought says, this is this and this is that. That thought that says this, that says this is this and this is that, retreat starts here and this is what retreat is.
Mm-hmm.
How does thought know that? How is thought knowing?
No.
So when I'm listening to thought,
Mm-hmm.
what am I listening to? What's happening when I'm listening to thought?
I would say it's a lot like being in a little bit ready to wake up, but in a dream still, and listen, and trying to make sense of impressions and things happening, something like that.
Do you try to make sense of the clouds when you look at the clouds? Do you try to make sense of the clouds?
No.
Your thoughts that arise to you, are they not like clouds arising to you?
Yeah.
So if you don't make sense of the clouds,
Mm-hmm.
and you understand it makes no sense to try to make sense of out of the clouds,
Mm-hmm.
can you also consider that trying to make sense out of your thoughts is in a way similar to trying to make sense out of the clouds that you are observing. And that if you make sense out of the clouds that you're observing, it makes it doesn't make any hoot of a difference to what you are. Right? Now I understand. Oh, it looks like a dragon, or it looks like an angel.
Right.
It makes no sense. It doesn't change anything about you. Now, if you're looking at the clouds and you notice the clouds are going to predict a rain because they're becoming darker and darker and darker, right, then you will go and seek shelter before the storm. Yes. Yeah,
that's right.
Now, if you are watching thoughts and you notice thoughts are like really polluted, they're telling you that you're stupid and you're smart, or you'll be more smarter if you get more money, or if you get this relationship or that, and you see the storm, right? Are you going to continue to stay? Are you going to continue to stay under those clouds?
Oh, I see.
Yeah? Or you'll say, wait a minute. No, I think I'm just going to go to shelter. Now, what is the shelter? It's obviously not more thoughts, not other thoughts.
Yeah. I just want to play with your analogy for a moment, in that if you're concerned about all those thoughts, you may not even notice that that the storm clouds are gathering, and you're still standing out there in the storm when you could have acted
right,
effortlessly and appropriately,
Yes. So listen to yourself. So listen to yourself. When you are contemplating all these thoughts about me, and tomorrow I'm going to go to retreat, I'm going to get this and that and that and that and that and that, it's going to happen to me, and hopefully the experience I had in 1970, I'll have it in whatever. Listen to yourself. That yes, that why do you keep entertaining these thoughts when you know that what you are is not defined by the clouds that you are watching, that you are looking? That this turbulence in the thinking also creates a turbulence in the feeling, and that there is no solution for this turbulence within thought. That seeing the clouds that look like a dragon, to see that there are clouds, they're empty. What appears to you, can you grab it? Can you weigh it? Can you cut it with a scissor? What is this you that you think you are? What is this bundle of thoughts that says you are this and that? Can you do they weigh 1 gram? Do they weigh 1 ounce? What is it?
Right.
Giving so much importance to these clouds. You think that you are their subject. You feel you are their subject. In your night dreams, you have all these night dreams. Are you their subject? You wake up, if you're swimming, you were swimming. You wake up, do you wake up wet? You don't wake up wet. You know from your experience that you are not subject to your thoughts, but why do you continue to feel you are subject to your thoughts? Why do you try to change them? You try to improve them. You try to have better thoughts. Why do you try to have better thoughts? Who cares? Do you try to have better clouds in the sky? You don't, right? I'm not hearing you.
now?
Oh, yes, I hear you now.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So you follow?
Yeah, and I was just thinking too that from especially when you just started talking, it's like, why put off the bliss of the self until, you know, sitting in the satsang hall, or or
Absolutely.
until another insight or something like that.
You are satsang. You are. I consciousness is satsang. I
Uh-huh.
is meditation.
Right.
I do not meditate.
Mm-hmm.
I am a meditation. I is Satchitananda. I
Mm-hmm.
is not the concept I, not the thoughts I, not the past I and the future I.
Mm-hmm.
The reality that is right now, that is not made up, that is not composed of anything. The I, the Satchitananda is not composed of anything.
Mm-hmm.
It is beyond augmentation and diminution.
Mm-hmm.
It is not in the realm of the phenomenal material realm. Is no material realm. It's all conceptual. It's conceptual. So you look directly in your experience right now, the formless. Your experience is formless, and then thought comes and adds a form.
Mm-hmm.
It adds a outfit. It adds an outfit.
It adds something besides Satchitananda.
But what it's adding is empty.
Uh-huh.
It's not really adding, because there's nothing to add. It's an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a magical illusion. You know, the magicians is so good. You look at them and say, my God, how did you do that? They pulled 10 rabbits out of the hat.
Right.
It's somehow, I don't know how, but it's an illusion. I don't know how to do that. You follow?
Yeah. It's like the magic of Maya, and creating one thing after the other. Like you said earlier on, I think talking to Zoe, you said you can either have the peace of yourself, or you can have infinite thoughts and feelings.
Yes.
They're infinite because they come from the self, so they're infinite possibilities anyway.
Yes, but it's important to realize the reality of all these impressions is not an impression.
Right.
And these impressions do not create a separate reality outside of consciousness. In other words, when consciousness dreams rabbits out of the hat, it is not actually leaving itself. It is not separating itself into rabbits or into.
Yeah. Right. That's such a subtle point. That's the point I'm probably most curious about lately, is just the rabbits are not other than the self, and yet there are no rabbits in themselves.
Right. Well, your night dream is a very good metaphor for you, because in your night dream there may be pink rabbits, but in fact there aren't rabbits. There are no. There isn't, but in fact there isn't. The fact you see, it's really important to be really clear about what reality refers to. Reality doesn't refer to any impression. So the reality of those impressions is not an impression.
Yes.
So the reality of all forms is consciousness. So given that there is one reality, there are really no forms. The body, the physical body. There are various organs, various systems in the body that are operating, yes?
Yes.
from the perspective of the liver is the liver, from the perspective of the heart is the heart, from the perspective of the lung is the lung. But from the perspective of the body, there is no heart, lung, or anything like that.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, or the hand is used as an example. That's
right. The hand, like there are separate fingers, but from the index to the index, the thumb is a thumb. But for the hand, there isn't an index or a thumb.
Yeah. And what's really struck. Go ahead.
I'm saying you cannot fully explain it. You cannot fully explain it in thought, but you can allude. You can metaphorically. It's an invitation towards a certain direction, in a way. Something.
Yeah, well, you know what's a good litmus test for this is what you started with in this conversation, which was you know, the retreat is right now. The retreat is yourself, and everything that seems to have a patina of future to it, or improvement, or anything story related, is in the category of pink elephants in the dream.
Right. So you turn your attention to that is not the pink elephant, to that the reality that is right now, which is this effortless aware presence, or effortless grace, or light of being, God's light. Just that's fulfilled already. And anything else that you think you are is not what you are. What you feel you are is not what you are. Or before that composition, before that becoming, you are before that demonstration.
It's interesting using those examples, those words, because when I was at the retreat with Rupert last fall, I really played my flutes a lot. Everybody seemed to like it. He liked it. And he said, oh, yeah, wafting through the garden and, you know, whatever. And so I had in my mind all those things you just said, composition, expression, my, you know, status in the group, community, whatever. And
all these images will limit you.
Yes. Instead of aggrandizing or adding, whatever the term you used, instead of that, it's actually not that my real self can be diminished, but it seems that I have a relative and limited identity, even as doing something people like, whatever.
This is the begging bowl. We have the begging bowl.
Right.
Please love me, recognize my illusion. You have to wake up from your own illusion yourself, because it doesn't matter if I recognize your illusion or not. I may think you're the greatest person in the world, but it's about your own freedom. Your own freedom, your own awakening is within your own hands, not in somebody else's hands clapping at you or criticizing you. This is just all pipe
dreams. Yeah, you smoke a little opium and then you think, "Oh, I'm happy."
So beware of those images, the Ananda images. If you
it's just great.
You maintain an image. You remain in chains to that image. You remain entangled in that image. There is no beauty, love, or freedom in that.
There's a Rilke poem that I liked recently. Really liked. It says, "If you wander, you should wander within yourself and not see anybody else for, you know, hours or whatever, be able to be just there. And that's what you need to achieve, if anything, something like that. Just that sense of not constantly investing in external.
Yes, it's all imagination.
Yeah, imagination.
So enjoy the retreat.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks very much. Yeah, I'm really very ready for it now.
Say hello to Rupert.
I will.
So any other question, anyone? Okay, well, I will get to the question that was sent to me next time. Just wanted to remind people or make announcement. There is going to be an all-day retreat in our home here, Saturday, May 26th. And as most of you know, in June, there is a retreat in Costa Rica, a 4-day retreat, June 16 to June 19. And also in Mount Shasta, thanks to Ananda and other friends, there is a retreat in Mount Shasta, California, August 3rd to August 7th. And there is information available. You can go to my meetup. Also, retreats are opportunities to go deeper into the contemplation, into the investigation, into the inquiry, to stabilize as the self, to experience the freedom of the self. And also the silent teaching, the silent presence, the presence of the self, to soak in that presence. So I welcome you and very grateful for your love for truth. Namaste all, and we'll see you soon.
Namaste.